This is MA 108, section 5.1, homework help for questions number 12, 17, and 21. Okay, questions number 12. So I am asked to find what the value of arc cosine of 0 is exactly. Now, it's important to know here that it also says without the use of a calculator. And I have no objection to you using your calculator to verify your answer when you're finished. However, it is important to show these steps to demonstrate that you are finding the value exactly without the use of a calculator. Okay, so what I do is say that arc cosine of 0 is equal to something. And in this case, I say that arc cosine of 0 is equal to theta. So that's always my first step. I take the arc cosine value, and I set it equal to theta. Then, because I'm looking for the inverse function of arc cosine, the undoing of arc cosine, then I apply cosine to both sides of the equation. So I apply cosine of theta, cosine of arc cosine of 0. By definition, arc cosine of 0 applied inside the cosine function must be equal to 0. So that means I'm looking for where does cosine of theta equal 0. And the cosine of theta equals 0 at pi over 2. Now remember, I am restricting the cosine function to be from 0 to pi. So the value that I'm looking for where cosine is equal to 0 on the interval 0 to pi is theta equals pi over 2. Question number 17. The same idea. I'm asked what is arc cosine of 1/2. So I set arc cosine of 1/2 equal to theta. Then I apply cosine function to both sides of my equation. I get cosine of theta on the left side, and on the right side I get cosine of arc cosine of 1/2 inside the cosine function. The right-hand side simplifies to just 1/2. Arc cosine of 1/2 applied inside the cosine function is just 1/2. So then I'm looking, where does cosine of theta equal 1/2 on the interval from 0 to pi? Well, when I look at my unit circle, that's pi over 6, pi over 4, and then pi over 3. So my answer is pi over 3. Number 21 asked me to evaluate this to 4 digits with a calculator. What is the arctan of 4.056? And I typed that in my calculator and I got 1.329.